Welcome to the Padded Room. I'm Wayne, and this is Talking Tech with Wayne, the show dedicated to discussing smartphones, smart homes, and all those things in between. This show is a promise of information freely given to all that seek it, and that is a pact between me and all of you. The information discussed today and in all of our shows will be recapped in our newsletter. Log on to our website to sign up. The website address is on a crawl at the bottom of the screen, along with our number to our helpline where trained technicians are ready to answer your questions. 24/7, and best of all, it's 100% free. This episode and all those that follow will be an exploration of the technology that has sprung up all around us to give you an opportunity to see if any of it has a place in your life. I will make sure you have the information you need to get the most out of this age we live. A little about myself. I've run a technology company since the early 90s, but that's my day job. My passion is helping people get the most out of the tech that seems to be everywhere these days. In 2019, that mission led me to starting a series of tech discussion groups in senior citizens, centers, and churches in the Philadelphia area where I would bring this information to groups. Early in 2020, the pandemic struck, and I had to get creative. Having just joined PhillyCam, one of Philadelphia's true treasures, I found a way to deliver these messages of hope. With their help, this show was born. I will give you many tips throughout this series. And the first one is this. When we stop treating tech like the enemy, we can pay attention to the clues the devices are trying to give us. Modern day technology is more user-friendly than it's ever been. If you leave this show with anything, let it be this. The phone, like other devices, wants to help you. Let it. On today's show, we'll be looking at smartphones. We'll cover some of the basics, like making and receiving calls, and I'll take you on a tour of the interface. Other shows in this series, we will visit security, email, personal computing, smart homes, search engines, and so much more. You will also have an opportunity to sign up for our newsletter that will be a recap of the show along with links to additional resources. Remember to jot down the helpline number and the site address. It will scroll across the bottom several times during this broadcast, so if you miss it, don't worry. It will appear again. So, let's get started. Smartphones. The name says it all. These are not the phones we grew up with, are they? Oh, they can make calls, but they are capable of so much more. Just to put it in perspective, devices that we carry around every day are powerful computers. In fact, each one has more computing power than the ones used by NASA to put a man on the moon. Let that sink in. Oddly enough, it's the mobility aspect that contains most of the magic, at least for me. Have you ever sat down and as soon as your bottom hit the chair, it occurred to you that you should have gotten something and now it just seems too far away? What if what you wanted was an answer to a question that's been nagging you? Tomorrow's weather, your current bank balance, that thing you had planned to do but just can't seem to quite remember what it was, or any one of 100 different tasks. Smartphones allow you to keep them all within arm's length. There are several flavors of smartphones. Two of the major types to emerge from the pack are Android, made and maintained by Google, and iPhone, made by Apple. There are differences between these platforms, but they are similar in function. I will be using an Android. Even if you're on an iPhone, there will be a significant value for you in today's show, and the newsletter will direct you to the additional information. Also, how I customize my phone, along with my particular make and model, may make it look different. But fear not. The concepts discussed today should be generally universal. Smartphones, like other devices we'll be looking at throughout this series, are customizable. You can customize a device for ease of use and also for the aesthetics. There is, however, another reason that I will refer to often throughout our journey together, and that's to make it your own. Taking possession of your devices is essential to lessening the anxiety you may feel when confronted with even the thought of tech. When we move into an apartment or a house, it's just a place or a building. After bringing our stuff in, arranging it, and hanging a set of curtains, we begin to feel at home. Customizing a device has the same effect. As I said, for those of you following along with their own phones, what you see may look a little different than what I'm showing, and that's okay. Some of the difference is due to customizations, like I said before. Another reason for the difference is the difference between manufacturers, models, and even versions of the same model. Let's look at my phone. Most current phones will have the following components, even if they are in different places or appear slightly different in appearance. Let's start with the back. There's the camera array. This array contains the lenses, light sensors, and the flash. On the bottom is the charging and ear ports, along with the speaker. On the top is the microphone. Looking at the phone, on the right side is the power button, and the volume button is on the left. Now, let's talk about navigation. Smartphones are touch screen devices, meaning touch is the means to make things happen. A single touch opens an app. A long touch brings up a menu that offers you additional options. Swiping left or right moves you from screen to screen. Be patient when trying these moves, and remember that practice does indeed make perfect. Understand what should happen, try not to get frustrated, and above all, try to have some fun. I can imagine some of you out there staring at the screen in astonishment. Remember, keep it light and move forward at your own pace. This journey will be informational and helpful, but more than anything else, it should be a little fun. I want to build a community. Well before the term geek got its upgrade and became something to aspire to, tech help came from those around you. Bill from the third floor or Sharon in accounting would gather around, and collectively we would find the solutions. There is power in community. Looking at the phone before logging in, the first screen you see is called the lock screen, and then the login screen. These two screens are there to secure your phone. There are several ways to implement the security, and I advise everybody to do at least one of them. The rule of thumb is always the same as with passwords. They should be easy to remember, but hard to guess. In a later show devoted to security, we will look at the whys and hows, along with some do's and don'ts. After putting in your code, you arrive at the home screen. This screen is important for a number of reasons. Among them is the customization we talked about earlier. This screen should have all of your most frequently used apps, along with information you want to keep at your fingertips. Pun intended. As you can see, mine has a Google search, along with the date time. The search and date time are widgets. A widget is an extension of an app that brings different kinds of information to the phone. On mine, one of them brings search results. There's a wealth of choices of widgets as there is with apps. On another show devoted to apps, we will explore them in depth. Additionally, I have on my phone screen, going from left, a GPS app for driving directions, which connects to my truck radio for a heads-up display, a writing app for my great American novel, which I'll finish in a year now, a banking app, a to-do list, and many, many more. Having them on my home screen keeps them ready. There's another purpose of the home screen for those of you just becoming familiar with smartphones, and that is as a navigation destination. Drawing your attention to the bottom of the screen, there is, on many phones, 3 buttons. The middle one is your home button. No matter where you are on the phone, pressing it brings you back to this screen. Because just like Dorothy of the famed Oz, there is no place like home. To the right of the home button is the back button, which takes you back one screen. To the left of the home button is the running app button, which shows you all of the open apps and gives you the opportunity to close any or all of them. Above those buttons is the app dock, where up to 5 of your most frequently used apps are always accessible, no matter which screen you find yourself. I put them there using the long touch and the drag move, which I shared earlier. At the very top of the screen and to the right is the status bar, which provides phone information such as battery, network connectivity, both cell and Wi-Fi, and any alarms. To the left, your notification bar. Mine is showing current temperature from a weather app. So, on to making and receiving calls. For those of you who are more advanced, I beg your indulgence. You can consider this a review. The oldest method to make a call is dialing the number. Select the phone app. That's the one with the phone image on it, to open. Once in the phone app, the keypad can be found by selecting it from the bottom of the screen. You can see while dialing the number, the phone will display possible entries, and selecting one of them will allow you to choose it from the list. Initiate the call by selecting it, then pressing the call button. Another way to make a call is from the recents list, then pressing the call button. Still, another way is by using a contact list. You will navigate it the same as you did with the recents list. Both of these lists are dynamic searches, which simply means that the search will narrow down as you enter more characters. Your contact list will grow as you add more names to it, and there are several ways to do that. One is choosing a name from the recents list, pressing the I symbol, and then the plus sign from the panel and selecting the appropriate option. An advantage to a well-stocked contact list is that it also enables the contact name to be displayed when they call you. Voicemail. I placed the icon for my voicemail alongside of my phone app because, well, it looks cool, and also because I have issues, but that's a whole different kind of show. There are several choices for voicemail, but most carriers will offer their own. For many of you out there, voicemail provided by the carrier will suffice. I chose another vendor based on some of the features I needed that they offered. The procedures will be similar whether you use the carrier or another vendor. The same can be said of texting. As with your voicemail, every carrier will provide their own app. And just like with voicemail, I chose a vendor because of some of the features I required. Texting is very similar to calling in that you can enter the number, choose a contact from the list, or select someone from a list of recent texts. Well, that's the basics. So on to the fun stuff. I'm going to open the phone lines. We have on the line Maureen from Mount Airy. Hello, Maureen. This is Talking Tech with Wayne, and I'm Wayne. How can I help?
Hello, Wayne, and thank you for taking my call. This show is such a good idea, and I truly hope you can help. I have wanted a cell phone for so long, but I've been afraid, and I don't know why. It feels like all the tech stuff is just passing me by. I want a phone, and my question is, where do I start?
Well, Maureen, you have the dubious distinction of being my first caller, and it's my privilege to try. I congratulate you on having the courage to face this fear and try something new. So let's get to it. As I stated earlier, one of your first decisions will be choosing between iPhone and Android, even though technically iPhone is a model, but that's splitting hairs and unimportant for the conversation at hand. If you ask current smartphone users why they made the choice they did between Android and iPhone, you will get a range of responses. I believe these responses can be categorized into three groups. The first group being that one is better than the other, and you truly don't want to get in the middle of that one. That debate ranks up there with religion and politics. But in actuality, they're more alike than they are different. Kind of like people in that regard, right? So that choice is a matter of personal preference. The second concern is whether one phone has an app or a feature that the other one doesn't. Early in the evolution of smartphones, that may have been the case, but now pretty much any app that is available on one will be offered on the other as well. The third is whether you have the equipment ready and will the phone be compatible. That is more a concern for the iPhone than the Android. Maureen, do you own any Apple devices?
No, I'm just starting out, and my friend has a. Wait a minute, I wrote it down. A Samsung Note 9.
That is what I suspected, but I never assumed. For our audience, Samsung is a company that makes electronics. One of those products is mobile phones. One of the model lines is Note, and one of the versions of Note is Note 9. Sounds confusing, but it's the same business model that car manufacturers have been using for decades. Take Ford. They make cars. One of those car model lines is Taurus, and every year they offer a new version, the most recent being 2021. All of Samsung phones run the Android system. There are several companies making Android phones, and each one makes several different models. So it's a good idea to do some research. One of the most valid avenues of research is a friend's opinion about a device they are using. In your case, Maureen, is your friend happy with her Note 9?
Yes, she is and has volunteered to help me.
We all need friends like you have. Another way to gather information about phones, and for that matter, any purchases you're planning to make, is the internet. You might want to check out some reviews on sites like cnet.com, and PCMag.com. We will devote an entire upcoming show to how to get the most out of these internet searches, literally harnessing the power of a global community to inform your choices. This is truly a wondrous age in which we live. These searches can give you a better idea which phones are available, the features they have, and how well they perform. In general, there are 3 factors to keep in mind: price, features, and carrier. Let's look at price. Android phones can vary widely in price. For example, many carriers offer certain phones for free. They're usually the older and the lower end models, but you have to sign a contract. If you have your heart set on a higher end phone, you will have to pay. The cost can be anywhere from a few $100s to $1,000 and beyond. Reconditioned and older phones are significantly more affordable, but buyer beware. Just as with any purchase, if the deal is too good to be true, then it may not be. There are sites like Gazelle.com and Glide.com which specialize in used phones, and they actually have a reputation of being reputable. Also, there are features. Androids come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. While you're shopping around, start thinking about which features are important to you. Keep in mind the specifications that you want to look for are screen size, battery life, camera quality, and general performance. Beyond that, there are a number of cutting-edge features to consider, such as whether or not they have a stylus, and are they capable of fingerprint and or facial recognition. And that's to do a certain kind of security, and like we talked about earlier. And then we come to carrier. If you haven't chosen a carrier yet, it's a good idea to think about which one you might want to use. Some carriers have fewer phone models to choose from, so your options may be more limited than you think. Others offer different prices on the same phone. This can have a significant impact on the one you end up choosing. Every phone may not work with every carrier, so make this decision first. Where you live, work, and play is where you need the phone to work, so ask your friends and coworkers about their carrier and how happy they are with their service. Do you know which carrier your phone uses, Marie?
It's T-Mobile, and she seems very, very happy.
Also, if your travel patterns are similar and the cost is acceptable, then I would take the leap. Some carriers will give you a trial period to see if their service works for you. That could be anywhere from a few days to a month. I would inquire about their policy before signing on the dotted line. There are also free and low-cost options that you may also qualify for. I will include that information in our newsletter, and if there's enough interest from you out there, maybe we'll do a show about that as well. You may also opt to get a pay-as-you-go plan, which, as the name implies, allows you to only pay for the minutes that you use. The secret is doing your homework. After you've made your decision about carrier and phone, there are many different ways to make your purchase, including online or at a local store. You can research your options before you decide to buy as well. Let's look at in-store. Most carriers will have a brick and mortar store where you can browse their stock and talk to an associate if you need help. If you want more flexibility, check out a retailer like Best Buy or Walmart, where you can shop several different carriers at once. When you buy a phone in person, an associate will usually help you set it up. Online. There are a variety of ways to buy a phone online. For example, you can go directly through a carrier or choose a retailer like Target or Amazon. This option is great if you feel confident navigating the choices and eventually setting up the phone on your own. Beware of any sales or promotions that sound too good to be true, especially online. Some Android devices are very expensive, so there'll always be bad guys looking to take advantage of unsuspecting buyers. When in doubt, purchase your device from a well-known retailer or mobile carrier. Well, I've given you and our audience a lot to sift through, but every journey requires a first step, although yours may actually be a leap. But I applaud your efforts, and we stand ready to assist you in any way possible. Remember to jot down our number, and remember it's available 24/7, not just during the show.
Thank you. I will.
I see that's all the time I have for today. It has been my pleasure to be here, and I look forward to the next time we can do it again. I wish you all a farewell.